The Chicago Bears have made a move for their depleted secondary. They have signed defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to a one-year deal. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video, which I'll be doing anytime the Chicago Bears news going on. I don't have my video camera on for this. I'm actually on the move right now, but had to make a quick little video to break down this signing. And yeah, guys, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a player that a lot of Bears fans are familiar with, obviously, because back in 2020, that game against the Saints, Javon Wims tried to punch him. He got ejected, and that was a viral moment, a pretty funny moment, honestly, except for the fact that it helped the Bears lose that game. But yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a Hall of Fame instigator. He's gotten players to fight him at every spot he's been at. He's kind of been a ticking time bomb, though. Like, he hasn't stayed very long at each spot he's been at in the last couple years, maybe partly due to locker room reasons or whatever the case is. I mean, he is a feisty guy that does love to talk trash, that likes to get in people's heads, and sometimes that can be used to your benefit because we could get opposing receivers pretty upset and hopefully get them to commit some penalties. But at the same time, Gardner-Johnson himself has to be careful of not committing too many penalties and maybe not being a sour spot in the locker room, because this is a guy with a lot of baggage, a guy that, you know, has done a lot of things in the NFL that some fans and some players do not like. But this is a move the Chicago Bears basically had to make. They were so depleted in the secondary. Kyler Gordon is going back on injury reserve. Not sure when he's coming back. We're obviously missing Jalen Johnson for basically the entire year. Tyreek Stevenson dealing with the injury as well. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson has played a lot of snaps in the slot. Under Dennis Allen, when he played with the Saints, he played the majority of his snaps actually in the slot. After he left the Saints, he played a lot more safety in other positions. But in the slot, he was actually a pretty fantastic cornerback. So for him to replace Nick McCloud, who is by far the worst slot cornerback in football, in my opinion. I mean, Nick McCloud has been absolutely freaking horrible. There is no way C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to be worse than Nick McCloud. I mean, he has a lot of experience in the NFL. He's played under Dennis Allen. He's been a pretty solid cornerback in the past. Now, as of late, he's not been as good, obviously, because he's getting older. But I think reuniting with Dennis Allen is going to be fantastic for him because he played some of his best football under Dennis Allen. And Allen knows how to get the best out of this dude who, you know, it can be tough to coach him probably, but at least Allen is a coach that's gone into his ear before and has led him to having some pretty successful seasons. Reading his stats, guys, I won't go over these in too much detail, but if you look at the stats here, he's been playing in the NFL since 2019. He was with the Saints for 3 seasons. He had 1 interception each of the first 2 seasons. He had 3 the year after. If you look at the time with the Eagles, though, he had 6 interceptions in that 2022 season, a career high, and he helped the Eagles win some important football games. Then in 2023, he goes to the Lions, only spends a couple games there. Then in 2024, he goes back to the Eagles where he wins the Super Bowl and, you know, plays a role on that defense for sure. So he has Super Bowl level experience as well. He had a couple tackles in that Super Bowl, but then in the offseason, he gets traded to the Houston Texans in exchange for Kenyon Green. But then the Texans cut him after 3 games, which not totally sure why that happened. Probably due to just him butting heads with the coaching staff or whatever happened. And then the Ravens signed him to the practice squad for a little bit, but then he gets released and now he is a Chicago Bear. So yeah, he's been at a lot of spots as of late, and that could be a red flag that a lot of teams did not want him on their roster. But guys, the Chicago Bears are desperate at this point in time. Like, we don't really have anybody else we can sign to play this spot because it's midway through the season, right? Like, there's not a whole lot of free agents available. And I do think C.J. Gardner-Johnson could play at least an average or maybe slightly below average level, which is still way better than what Nick McCloud has been giving them. Nick McCloud has been the worst defensive back in football, honestly. Every single time he's out there, he's allowing big time play after big time play. So at least give me the guy that, although he's feisty, although he might get into people's faces, although he may cause some penalties, but maybe some for the opposition as well, you know, at least he can play at a decent level. He's played in this scheme. He's going to be able to run Dennis Allen's defense and at least be a body out there for us. And he's pretty versatile too, guys. You know, if we have a injury at safety, he can play some safety as well. He can be used as a blitzer. He blitzed a lot early in his NFL career. So if the Bears want to help out the struggling pass rush, that's a place where he could be helpful as well. So all in all, guys, I like the signing, okay? I won't pretend that I was a fan of CJ Gardner-Johnson before the signing was made because I didn't really like him as a player because of all the stuff he's done in the NFL. But, you know, in some ways, it's also good to have a trash talker on your team, a feisty guy that can get into other people's heads, because the Bears have not really had a villain like that on their defense in a long time, and maybe it could be beneficial to us. Maybe he gets Amon-Ra St. Brown to blow up and get ejected in the game against the Lions, or maybe he gets Jordan Addison to blow up, or like whoever, you know, like he consistently instigates fights somehow. I'm not sure like what exactly he says, but he says crazy shit that leads to people getting really mad at him. So again, a little bit risky for the Chicago Bears if this ends up blowing up in our faces, but it's a very low risk signing. We're probably not giving him a lot of money. I didn't see the money yet, but it's probably something very minimum. And at least while Kyler Gordon is out and recovering, he can play a role on this defense and hopefully at least hold his own. But leave your thoughts down below, guys. What do you guys think about this signing? I'll be back with my pregame preview video for the Bengals matchup very soon here. But as always, guys, bear down.